I found out my family has a group chat without me, and it wasn't what I expected. I'm a 29-year-old guy, the middle child sandwiched between two brothers, Peter, 34, and Luke, 25. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I'd have told you we're a pretty close-knit family. We're not perfect, but we've always been there for each other. At least, that's what I thought. Lately, though, things have fell off. It started with small stuff like not being in on jokes during family dinners. Peter and Luke would be laughing about something, and when I'd ask, they'd just say, "Oh, it's nothing," or change the topic. I shrug it off at first. I've been busy with work, and I figured I was just missing out on group chats or quick catch-ups. But then it started happening more often. I'd find out about family plans at the last minute, and Peter would reference something I had no clue about. It was like there was this invisible thread connecting everyone except me. The first real sign that something was up happened at a family barbecue. We were all hanging out in the backyard, and Luke was showing Peter something on his phone. They were giggling like kids, and I asked what was so funny. As soon as I spoke up, the laughter died. They exchanged this weird look before Luke stuffed his phone in his pocket and said, "Oh, it's nothing important." It was awkward. I tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't shake the feeling that they were hiding something. The weirdness hit a new level last weekend. I was at my parents' house helping my mom with her laptop. She's terrible with tech, so I'm the unofficial tech guy of the family. While I was sorting out her email, her phone buzzed on the table. I didn't mean to look, but the screen lit up, and I caught a glimpse of a notification. The family chat. The message preview was from Peter. "Just don't mention it in front of him today." My stomach dropped. The family chat? What the hell? I thought I was in the only family chat we had. You know, the one with the usual boring stuff, grocery lists, reminders, the occasional meme. But this wasn't that chat. This was something else. Something I wasn't a part of. I didn't say anything to my mom. I just handed her back the laptop and made up an excuse to leave. On the drive home, I kept replaying that message in my head. Just don't mention it in front of him today. What were they hiding from me? Was it something about me? Did I do something to upset them? I decided not to confront anyone right away. Instead, I started paying closer attention. I remembered a few months ago when plans for a family trip got changed at the last minute. At the time, they said it was because of Peter's work schedule, but now I wasn't so sure. And then there were the inside jokes I didn't get, the side conversations that ended as soon as I walked into the room. I pulled up my own phone and scrolled through our family chat. It was exactly what I remembered, dry, basic stuff. Nothing like the message I saw on my mom's phone. There were no discussions, no jokes, no plans being made. Just logistical messages like, "Who's bringing dessert on Sunday?" It felt like a placeholder chat. Something to keep me from noticing there was another, more active one. I couldn't keep this to myself any longer, so I called my best friend, Brandon. We've been friends since college, and he's usually good at talking me down when I start spiraling. I told him everything. The weird looks, the secret chat, the message I saw. Brandon joked that maybe they were planning a surprise party for me or something, but even he didn't sound convinced. He told me to just ask them about it directly, but I wasn't ready for that yet. If it wasn't something innocent, I didn't want to look paranoid or crazy. So I decided to test the waters a bit. The next time I saw Luke, I casually asked if there were any new group chats I'd missed out on. He got this deer-in-the-headlights look before quickly saying, "No, just the usual one." His answer was too quick, too rehearsed. It confirmed what I already suspected. He was lying. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the possible reasons for the secret chat. Had I done something to upset them? Were they talking about me behind my back? I grabbed my phone and did what any sane person would do. At 3 a.m., I went on Reddit. I searched for a family secret chat and was surprised to find a bunch of posts from people in similar situations. Some discovered their family was planning a surprise, but others uncovered much worse. My anxiety skyrocketed as I read through those threads. The idea that my family might be hiding something serious from me kept me awake all night. The next day, I tried asking Peter a similar question, just to see if I'd get a different answer. He played it cool, saying there was only one family chat, but I noticed he wouldn't look me in the eye. It felt like he was deflecting, trying to steer the conversation back to work or something else. I left the conversation more convinced than ever that something was going on. I knew I couldn't keep tiptoeing around this forever. I was either going to drive myself crazy with overthinking, or I was going to have to confront them. But I wasn't ready yet. I needed more information. I decided then and there that I was going to get to the bottom of it. even if it meant having an uncomfortable conversation with everyone. I've always trusted my family, but now I'm starting to wonder if I've been naive. Either way, I'm going to find out what's really going on, and I'm not stopping until I get answers. The next Sunday, we had a family dinner at Peter's place. It was one of those regular get-togethers we've been doing for years. Everyone brings a dish, we sit around the table, and catch up. I figured it was the perfect time to test the waters. I wanted to see if I could get any of them to slip up without making it too obvious that I was digging. We were in the middle of dinner, talking about random stuff like Luke's new job and the latest movie Peter had watched. I casually mentioned how I had to mute a few group chats on my phone because they kept blowing up during work. I made a joke about it, pretending it was no big deal. I noticed it immediately, the slight pause. Luke glanced quickly at Peter, who didn't look up from his plate. A rush of adrenaline shot through me. I wasn't imagining things. There was definitely something they weren't telling me. After a moment, I went for it. "Hey, are there any group chats I'm not in?" I asked, keeping my voice light. It was almost like I was joking, but not really. The room went silent for a beat too long. Luke gave a nervous laugh and started talking about dessert, as though I hadn't just asked a direct question. My mom got up to clear the dishes, moving quickly, while my dad seemed completely oblivious, focusing on the last of his mashed potatoes. Peter, though he still didn't look up, asked me about work instead, as if he was trying to steer the conversation away. It was too obvious. I couldn't believe they were being this blatant about it. I leaned back in my chair and said, "I know there's another family chat. I saw a notification on Mom's phone last week. That got their attention." Peter finally looked up, his face tightening. He didn't even try to hide his annoyance. My mom turned around from the sink, looking guilty as hell, while Luke's smile dropped. My dad still had no idea what was going on. The tension at that dinner was unbearable. When I made it clear that I knew about the other group chat, no one even bothered to deny it. My mom just looked away, nervously fiddling with the plates in front of her. Peter stared at me for a moment before letting out a heavy sigh, and Luke stared at the floor like he wished he could disappear. The only one who seemed clueless was my dad, who kept chewing his food, completely oblivious to the heavy atmosphere in the room. "Well," I pressed, crossing my arms, "is anyone going to explain what's going on? Why is there a family group chat that I'm not part of?" Peter was the first to speak, but his tone was full of impatience. "It's not a big deal. Just a place for quick chats. You're overreacting. If it's not a big deal, why hide it from me?" I shot back, feeling my irritation rise as he tried to brush the whole thing off. Luke opened his mouth, but hesitated. I could see he wanted to say something, but couldn't find the right words. My mom finally muttered, "It's just that sometimes we thought you wouldn't be interested." That hit me like a punch. Wouldn't be interested? Interested in what? Do you think I don't care about the family? Is that it? That's not it, okay? Peter interrupted, now visibly frustrated. "It's just that you're always busy, always working. It was easier to keep a separate group for planning stuff." "Easier?" I laughed bitterly. "You decided to exclude me because it was easier? Do you have any idea how that sounds?" No one responded. The silence was unbearable. I pushed back from the table, throwing my napkin onto my plate. "If it's so insignificant, then show me the group. I want to see what you've been talking about." My mom finally broke the silence, her voice trembling. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Of course, it's not a good idea," I snapped, sarcasm dripping from my tone. "Because you're hiding something?" Peter sighed loudly. "You're being paranoid, you know? There's nothing wrong with the group. It's just more convenient." I didn't believe him for a second. Convenient for who? Because it doesn't seem very convenient for me. Sitting in the dark while you all make jokes, plan events, and talk about things I don't even know are happening. Luke, who had been silent until then, finally blurted out, "Okay, yes, there are things in the group we didn't want you to see, but it's not what you think." "Oh, so you were talking about me behind my back?" I asked, my heart pounding. That was my biggest fear, and hearing it confirmed only made the betrayal worse. "It's not like that," my mom pleaded, her voice almost breaking. "It's just sometimes you can be difficult." "Difficult?" I repeated, disbelief washing over me. "So instead of talking to me, you all decided to create a group to talk behind my back? Like I'm some kind of problem to be solved?" Peter stood up too, clearly irritated. "You know what the problem is? You always do this. You always assume the worst, always make yourself the victim. Sometimes it's just easier not to deal with it. That was a low blow, but before I could respond, Luke dropped a bombshell that turned everything upside down. And there's also the issue with the will. What? My body froze for a moment as I processed what he had just said. What will? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. My mom tried to interrupt, but Peter shook his head, glaring at Luke for mentioning it. You weren't supposed to know about that yet. Weren't supposed to know what? I demanded, my voice rising. Do you all think you get to decide what I can or can't know about my own families? That's when my mom finally caved. Your dad and I, we made some changes to the will. It was complicated, and we thought it would be better to talk about it when the time was right. Changes? I asked, suspicion dripping from my voice. What kind of changes? No one answered. I looked at each of them, waiting for an explanation, but their silence said it all. You took something from me, didn't you? You're cutting me out. Even from this, Luke tried to soften the blow. It's not like that. It's just, Peter has been helping a lot with things around the house and, oh, I get it. I interrupted, laughing bitterly. Peter's the favorite, of course. Always has been. So you decided to reward him at my expense? We're not taking anything from you, my mom insisted. We just adjusted a few things to reflect reality. Reality? I repeated, my voice trembling with anger. The reality is you decided I'm not part of this family the same way they are. You think you get to choose what I deserve to know, what I deserve to have. I couldn't stay there anymore. I grabbed my things and walked out, ignoring my mom calling after me and Peter's grumbling. As I drove home, my chest felt tight, and my mind spun with rage and hurt. All of it, every lie, every secret, had shattered any illusion I had left about my family. They betrayed me, and I knew I'd never see them the same way again. I left that house with a heavy heart, but a firm decision. I was done wasting my energy on a family that clearly didn't value me. For years, I had been there solving problems, putting their needs before mine. Now, it was time to change that. If they wanted to exclude me, they would have to learn how to live without me. In the months that followed, I completely distanced myself. I didn't answer calls, ignored messages, and stopped showing up at family gatherings. I knew it bothered them. Gradually, I started hearing through mutual acquaintances that things weren't going well for them. Peter, the so-called hero of the family, couldn't handle half of the responsibilities I used to take care of. He wasn't the type to deal with technical issues or make important decisions. Luke, on the other hand, was completely dependent on me for practical matters and was now lost. My mom began sending more insistent messages. At first, they were subtle invitations. Come over for lunch. We need to talk. Then they became more direct. I don't know what to do with the computer. It won't turn on. And eventually, desperate. Peter is overwhelmed, and Luke doesn't know how to help. Please, we need you. I read all those messages without feeling the slightest urge to respond. For years, I had been their support system. When something went wrong, I was the one they called. But when it came to making decisions, sharing jokes, or forming a secret group chat, I was disposable. Not this time. This time, they would have to figure it out on their own. Meanwhile, I focused on myself. I went back to studying, dedicated myself to new projects, and reconnected with friends I had neglected because of the time I spent helping my family. I rediscovered a passion I had long forgotten: photography. I dusted off my old camera and started exploring the world around me, capturing landscapes, moments, and stories. Slowly, I began to build a new life, lighter, freer, and completely mine. As my life started to thrive, there seemed to fall apart. Peter, who had always seen himself as the leader of the family, couldn't hold things together. Luke was incapable of contributing anything useful. My mom, who had relied on me for every technical issue and difficult decision, was lost. With every desperate message I received, my conviction that I had made the right choice grew stronger. One day, my mom showed up unannounced at my door. She looked exhausted and visibly upset. She said things at home were a mess, that they didn't know what to do, and that they missed me. You've always been the backbone of this family, she said, her voice breaking. Without you, everything feels so confusing. I looked at her for a moment, unsure of how to feel. For years, I had been the backbone, but not because they valued me, because it was convenient for them. Now that my absence was felt, they were finally realizing how much they had taken me for granted. I took a deep breath and replied calmly, "I understand that things are difficult, Mom, but I can't keep being responsible for solving everyone else's problems. I spent years doing that and losing myself in the process. Now I've chosen to focus on my life." She started crying, trying to convince me that the family needed me. "Peter is overwhelmed, and Luke can't handle anything. Without you, we're lost." For a moment, I felt a pang of guilt, but then I remembered all the times I had been ignored, excluded, treated as an outsider. "I'm sorry things are hard," I said, keeping my voice steady. "But this was your choice. You chose to leave me out. And now, I've chosen to move on." She tried to insist, but I stood my ground. I thanked her for coming, told her I hoped they would figure things out, and walked her to the door. As I closed it, I felt an immense sense of relief, knowing that for the first time, I was choosing myself. From that moment on, my life took a new direction. I got a better job, traveled, met incredible people, and built a network of friends who truly valued me. Photography, which had started as a hobby, became a serious passion. Soon I was showcasing my work in local galleries. I discovered a talent I never would have explored if I had still been caught up in my family's drama. My family kept trying to bring me back, but I never gave in. I learned that I wasn't responsible for fixing other people's problems, especially those who didn't appreciate me. Focusing on myself was the best decision I ever made, and now I live a full life, surrounded by people who truly matter. They betrayed me, and in the end, they were left to deal with the consequences of that choice. As for me, I discovered that the true value of family isn't in blood, but in the people who choose to genuinely stand by your side.